All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. Welcome to the show. It is me, your probably second favorite host. Peter's probably your favorite. And speaking of Peter, he is joining me today as my host and co-host of the show. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm not the favorite one. You can ask anyone on YouTube. I'm the least
Oh,
favorite
I don't know about
host.
that. I find that extremely hard to believe.
Eh,
Um, and we also have one of my editors, Nestlig. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you. We have some people in the side chat right now. We have Jake Nelson and Jonathan Becker. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
I'll add
Uh,
Jackson. I'll add a caveat. People will like me
okay.
when I'm just producing. So if I'm off screen entirely and not on microphone, that's where they like me more.
I like to say that I have a face for radio.
Me
Yeah.
too. Me too. And
Um,
I did that for
mm,
almost 4 years. I had a weekly radio show.
well, nice. One of my professors had it was a weekly radio show where people would call in and describe some arthropod that they had on their premises, and she would tell them what it was. So I thought that was kind of cool.
On the scale of intelligence, I did the exact opposite. I had a country music radio show.
Oh man. Well,
It was fun though.
I
Got to meet
you
a lot
might
of people.
you guys in the well, that's good. That is good. You guys in the chat might think from my southern drawl that I listen to country, but I do not. I don't. I don't listen to country.
You just miss out if you've never listened and watched Dwight Yoakam.
Oh,
I mean, so you like movies, right? What was your take
Yeah.
on the movie Sling Blade?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Sling Blade?
Sorry.
Oh man, see, that's where you're missing out.
I'm uncultured.
Billy Bob Thornton plays a terrific role in that one as a slightly disturbed killer who gets released.
Okay.
And Dwight Yoakam always plays the bad guy. So
Well, I'll have to look that up. That sounds interesting.
it is.
I'll have to.
The movie. It was a really good movie. Honestly,
Okay.
and pretty much every movie Dwight Yoakam is in is a good movie. There was a what was the other
Okay.
one where the guy needed to have his body on adrenaline all the time because otherwise he would get killed. I forgot that.
Okay. I'll definitely have to look that one up. That one sounds cool. There was a really good like murder mystery sort of movie. It was really like suspense, I guess. Filmed here in Shreveport. It's called Mr. Brooks.
I
You
haven't
may have
seen
heard of that. It's got is it Kevin Costner? Is it Kevin Costner? I think it was.
I don't know.
And Demi Moore. And that was filmed here in the lovely city of Shreveport. It's supposed to be set in Portland, Oregon. Which Shreveport, in case you have had the fortune of never coming here, does not look like Portland, Oregon. So a lot of their shots are like low stores and just like kind of random houses. You don't see billboards really or anything. You don't really see any wide shots of the city or anything, and that's probably for the best. There's only at one point you actually see a landmark where you can be like, "Oh, I know where that is," and it's there's a street sign at the very pretty close to the end of the movie where when they're on the highway, and you're like, "Oh, huh, I know where that is." I know exactly where that exit is. But anyway,
If we get people inside chat that know us from the time we met back in 2015, they're now trying to figure out whether they're watching Jackson Wheat or an episode of Movie Night.
that's true.
See?
Yeah, my goodness, it's been 8 years, Peter.
Yes.
8 years.
What
That's
on
kind of wild.
what on earth are we doing with our lives? Spending 8 years on YouTube.
Absolutely nothing. No. Absolutely nothing whatsoever.
Still, it has been fun. Oh, Jake Nelson said the Jason Statham movie was Crank, and there's a part 2 as well. If you haven't seen that, Dwight Yoakam plays the doctor in both movies. Also, 2 really good movies. Thank you, Jake. And
okay.
And what do you get if you play a country album backwards? You get your house back, you get your dog back, you get your wife back, you get your job back.
Oh no!
I knew that
that's
one.
Terrible. Oh, that's terrible.
I knew that one.
All right. Well,
funny.
Well, today we are starting a new video. So we're gonna watch a Genesis Apologetics video. Yeah, let's hope
4,
they don't
actually.
try to
at least
flag
4
us for it.
At least 4.
But
they made
it only 21 video.
Yeah, they made it into one video, which is 21 minutes. But when it was released in 4 parts, and then they released the entire thing because, I mean, it's not about telling people anything about science. It's about making money. So if you make it in 4 separate parts, you get money when people watch that, and then you release the entire thing and you get money again. So that's why.
Well, I understand. I mean, I'm okay with that. You know, I get it. Some people on YouTube I know do the same thing, and I'm fine with that. You know, you put it together as like, you know,
I would understand if the entire thing is like an hour long. Perhaps it would be better to put it into like 10-minute sizes. You know. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I get it. It's understandable.
Yeah.
So they're going to talk about, the overarching point of this series or whatever is they're talking about the evidence for evolution in the human body, right? Is there evidence for evolution that we can see on us? And the answer is, well, yeah. I mean, that's why they're talking about it. That's why they're lying about it, really.
Well, specifically, they were responding to an old Vox video, like the V, not an F, a V Vox.
The good one.
The good one. Yeah, and that video was listing like various vestigial structures that you can see in the human body, basically. And they say, nope, we disagree. And the main argument is, of course, these are still functional, which is not the point of vestigial structures.
Exactly.
Nope, that was never the point. And so they're just going to lie about that over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because we can actually find vestigial structures that meet the definition even of just being functionless. Like I believe they mentioned the auricularis, which is their ear muscles. They actually, so RJ and I discussed this in the rocks were there. Your ear muscles do try to turn your ears towards sound. They actually try to do that. They just can't. They're too weak. So you have
they do mention a function that they have during development. I don't know how accurate it is, but even if that's the case, it's still vestigial because it tries to turn your ear to a direction. Of course, yeah.
I no longer wear glasses. When I did, I had a pair of glasses that when I pressed my ears together, it would kind of sandwich between the ear and the head, and then with moving my ear muscles, I could make my glasses go up and down while I was talking to someone, which freaked out a lot of people.
Some people have more mobility in their ears, some have very high mobility,
Yeah, it's just silliness. It's just all silliness. So, all right, we ready to start watching?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Are there signs of evolution in your body? Millions have watched this video that claims that some of our arm and ear muscles, as well as goosebumps and our tailbones, are leftovers from our supposed evolutionary past. Let's find out if this is true.
As a content creator, I have to jump in. You cannot post a video on YouTube when the first words are millions of people have watched this video. You don't know because you haven't posted it yet. How?
I'm pretty sure they're talking about the Vox video.
Okay.
Maybe
that's it.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
But first, let's see the big picture. In the 1890s, so-called vestigial
dun,
organs
dun.
numbered as high as 180. Now, modern science is actually down to
Oh,
0.
Actually,
The most
pause.
recent so-called
Okay, so that number 180 is actually a reference to another thing that RJ and I discussed in The Rocks Were There. It's a reference to a book where this guy actually, when he said vestigial, and I don't even think everything in there was vestigial, but the book itself was just fine. Like RJ managed to find it and go through it, and there wasn't anything wrong with it. But no one says that there are 0 nowadays. Let's see. The Scopes trial contended there are over, I guess it was 180 vestigial organs. They command a veritable walking museum of antiquities. Okay. Anyway, they're misrepresenting that book. They're just without even really referencing it. So RJ and I discuss it in the Rocks Are There. Buy our book. All right, we can keep going.
called vestigial organs to make the "we actually need these" list are the tonsils, the appendix, and the pineal gland. We've learned that the tonsils and appendix help fight off infection. The pineal gland is
And
critical for biorhythms and
pause.
sleep.
Pause. Oh well. So the appendix is vestigial because the definition of vestigial is not functionless, and even if it were, we can still find examples of functionless structures. No, the
Well,
definition
ac-
of
Hmm.
do what?
I'm gonna go. I'll let you finish first. Sorry.
Okay, well,
Right there.
vestigial is defined more as it is reduced or changed in function from its ancestral function, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And so in the case of the appendix, that's 100% true. If you compare our appendix with the whole thing is called the cecoappendicular complex, which is present in all other mammals, then you can see that ours is highly reduced compared to herbivores because it functions in, just like with us, in replenishing gut biota, but in herbivorous mammals it's much longer because they need it to they have to have a much longer digestive tract to process plant material, whereas ours is much shorter because our diet is much more meat. So if you compare like the intestines and the cecoappendicular complex of carnivores and omnivores versus true herbivores, there are some major differences between them. So we know what it did originally. We know what it does in us. It's vestigial. All right, go ahead, Nissa.
But there is actually a some pushback against the idea. Like I've seen some researchers who say that the appendix has evolved multiple times and also gone away multiple times. So it may not be an actual leftover of some past. But so it may not be vestigial, but not because it's functional, but because the evolutionary history of the structure is different.
Well, it didn't evolve multiple times as far as I've seen within primates. Like primates shared a common ancestor who had one, and it has undergone develop. Unless I'm wrong, I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, I mean, you're right. You are correct in that it has evolved multiple times. Like the lizards of Podmakaru, the wall lizards, evolved a cecum when they were transported, and that was a totally novel structure. But as far as I'm aware,
the question is, did we
had one.
The question is, did we inherit did our ancestors have a large appendix used for like plant digestion? And that is in question, I think, regarding these other researchers. But it is still a debate that we can have.
Okay.
Yeah. But the point to remember is, regardless which answer it is, it's not non-vestigial because it has a function.
Yeah.
That's not the reason why it's not vestigial.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and in fact, actually, the appendix, or people have proposed that the appendix has had function going back to like the early 1900s because it's associated with some immune system tissues.
Also.
So yeah,
although that may be an add-on because the appendix tends to be infected, so it probably is associated with the immune system because that is needed for it to counteract that thing.
Yes. Yeah. Jonathan Becker says the pineal gland is where the soul lives, right? You are correct.
Yeah. And William Barnes says the creationist brain is vestigial. It used to think, but it now is reduced to absence. I like that one. And another thing,
Yeah.
Brian Stevens is in chat, and he says, "Hey ho, hi ho!
Hello, Brian.
I have a new channel for everyone, Geo Girl. She has some good stuff and is willing to work with other science case etc. channels." So,
I think I've heard of Geo Girl. That
Yeah,
I think I've heard of that one. It
I've-
sounds familiar.
I'm following
Good channel, yeah.
Physics Girl, which is a really sad story. She has
long COVID. Yeah.
long COVID, and she's
Mm.
doing really bad. So she can't even
I
move.
think it's almost a year now. She's still struggling with it.
Yeah, and that's just gutting because she was literally one of my favorite channels when it comes to cosmology and some things on geology. He was the one where I heard about the moving puddle in the United States that has caused people to move railroads and roads because the puddle is undermining it as it travels along, which is really weird.
Yeah. That's very strange. But yeah, no, the argument for vestigial is not that these structures don't have function. So every time they say that, just remember going forward, every time they say that, it is a lie. They know that's a lie. Okay, we can keep going.
What about the palmaris longus? Is it a vestigial part of our bodies? A long, slender muscle in some of our forearms that's left over from the evolutionary process? While most of us have it, between 2% and 64% of various people groups around the world do not. But this is no different than the prevalence of wisdom teeth, having 3, 4, or 5 vertebrae fused in our tailbones, or many other subtle differences we see in humans. Whether we have this muscle or not.
Wait, hold on. Wait,
red herring again.
Yeah, that's a complete red herring. That's not. Okay, they're saying the difference is if you have a slightly different number of bones in your coccyx, or you have a slightly different skin color, that's somehow comparable to not having a bone a muscle at all. No. The thing about the palmaris longus is, well, actually, I think they're gonna. Yeah, the effect of the absence or presence of the palmaris longus dependent on pinch and grip strength was investigated in the study. Similarly, the effect of the presence and absence of the fifth superficial flexor digitorum on grip strength in the hand was studied. The aim of the present study was to assess the combined strength of these anatomical. Okay, actually, I'm curious to see what this says.
I think it says even if there is a difference, it's a very minor difference.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I have seen this one. But yeah, it's even if you if you don't have this muscle at all, the difference between your grip and someone else's grip with the muscle is extremely minor.
Yeah.
And
okay. But the point of its vestigiality is because when we compare it to like climbing primates, they use the muscle very extensively in climbing into trees and such. Yeah. So that's probably what it was used for in our ancestors, and that is what it makes vestigial. Even if there is some functional, it appears not in this case. But still, again, functionality is not the point. The point is, was it used for a very different purpose in our ancestors? And it turns out, it probably is the case.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, yeah.
All right, let's see how they misrepresent this study.
It's very little impact in our lives. Some studies show it improves pinch strength, but others say it doesn't. We see variable traits in all species. What's going on here is no different than the variability we see in the animal world. For example...
Wait, hold on. Wait.
They want to dismiss it as, it's just a variation. Oh, but why do we have this variation then?
Right, exactly.
That's the question that they don't answer. They just ignore it. It's like, it's just a variation, not much.
There is a slight variation in the number of coccyx bones you have. There's a slight variation in skin. Okay, what is the reason? And do we have to have pigment or a coccyx at all? Right? That's quite different from, well, is this muscle slightly larger or smaller versus it just doesn't exist at all? Yeah, again, this total red herring. They're completely trying to derail the discussion by just saying, it's just variation.
It's hand waving away, like, oh, it's a variation.
And there's
yeah.
no evidence that there's selection for this structure, obviously, because if you just don't have it and it's not hurting you at all, because like they just said, it has an extremely minor, if any, effect on your grip strength, then I don't know what you want.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. All right, we can keep going.
Finches, lizards, or mice. One recent study tracked over 1,000 finch beaks. It showed that finches have epigenetic mechanisms that change
This
their
has
beaks
nothing to
within
do
even
with the
one
existence of the
generation,
muscle.
rather
Yeah.
than proving evolution,
Wait,
as Darwin
wait a
tried to
minute.
do with this very
Hold on, Peter. Those are different species of finch. There may be some small degree of overlap between the beak sizes of different finches. Like there can be, I think it's between like Difficillus and Fuliginosa. I think their beak sizes can like overlap as part of their range, but but they're different species, and when they actually are sympatric with each other, they don't overlap because there's competitive exclusion. So anyone who would fall within that range is selected out. What did you say, Mister?
It's like in this particular bit, like they want to shoehorn the argument, like, oh, it's not evolution, it's epigenetics, and but then when I was looking at the original paper that they showed there, it's about the differences between population within the same species, and it's also a very particular case of where epigenetics is involved, but it has nothing to say regarding whether or not the DNA is involved between species or even within species. So it does not exclude, like it's just again, it's just an additional mechanism in addition to the genetic mechanisms. So it's completely dishonest.
We don't know that the reason. I mean, it's entirely possible that the Palmaris longus, whether it is present in the population or not, is the result of epigenetics. That could be the case.
Maybe.
We don't know that. It could also be a mutation in like the promoter, region and something which is ahead of the like some gene cascade which results in building that muscle. But the promoter's knocked out, so the rest of the cascade just doesn't happen, and the muscle doesn't get built. We don't know that. We don't know what the genetic mechanism is that causes this versus that phenotype. So try to dismiss it as, well, it's just epigenetics, as though that doesn't matter. Again,
it's again a red herring. Like it has no bearing on whether it's vestigial or not. Like
right, exactly. Yeah,
it's irrelevant.
All right, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
Species. The latest science actually reveals that these adaptive mechanisms come built in. This fits the creation model's concept of a supernatural programmer who equipped creatures to track and adapt to their environments as they fill the earth. We see the same thing with anolis lizards, which rapidly change the length of their legs within one generation based on the type of vegetation they've adapted.
Stop. No, that's wrong. That is wrong, actually. So those are genetic adaptations. Want to know a fun fact? I actually work for a researcher who studies geckos. It's not...
Are those geckos or an anole lizard that he mentioned?
Sorry, you're right. They're anoles, which are iguania. Sorry. You're right. Yes, those are different. Those are ecomorphs of anoles in the Caribbean. So they occupy different niches on these islands. So they've independently radiated on these different islands, and they fulfill a lot of the same. They fulfill like similar niches on different islands. Essentially, the ecomorphs have evolved repeatedly, but it wasn't one generation, and this isn't epigenetics. These are actual genetic differences. So that's just a lie. Also, Jake Nelson for $10. But Jackson, it's still a bird kind. Evolution bad. That is correct. You are very, very correct.
Here they want to treat like epigenetics as like it's a programmed in change. It's not evolution, but no, it's not. It's not like epigenetics doesn't work like that.
But it's also not a programmed change, right? What does that even mean? Does that mean like we have the genes for every?
Again, they interpret that as evidence for design. Like it's a built-in program. Like it's.
But it's and that's the crazy thing, because it's not, right? I mean, you have to have mutations in like the methyltransferase or whatever else genes, which cause them to to methylate differentially, right? That's
Yeah.
still a mutation. I don't understand, or it's environmental factors which cause differential
Yes.
methylation. Either way, I don't get it. I don't get how that's indicative of design. Like, things can be different depending on their environment or depending on mutations. Like, okay, and I don't know. It's irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant. Okay.
Yes.
One thing I do want to
Alright, we
point
keep
out,
going.
I love this illustration where it just lines out where the trunk of the tree is. There's a twig, and then there's trunk crown and a giant. And
Well, those are
and
the different names of the ecomorphs.
yes,
Yes.
but then next to it you have grass and bush. For people who wouldn't know what
Yeah.
that is, the weird thing is that
Well-
they got the ground wrong, because the ground is a lot above the ground, and they forgot to
It's
mention
just
the
the name
roots.
of the ecomorph.
I don't think it's just the name of
It's
ecomorph.
just the ecomorph name.
It's the ecomorph name.
They're not. It's
okay.
not. They're not saying that is a twig. They're saying twig is the name of the morph of the anole.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, trunk crown giant is the largest ecomorph of these anoles.
that's a great way to make me look stupid and make me think that they had anything to do with trying to teach people who don't know about it.
It's okay. I actually
also I don't think this image was made by them. I think that just
No, it
pulled
wasn't.
out of a research paper. I think. Yeah.
It was, yeah. It was. I think Losos is one of the researchers on that. But yeah, we actually used that picture in one of the labs in one of the labs I teach or TA. So that's yeah. No, this is just nonsense. This is just abject nonsense. All right, we can keep going.
Adapted to. Similarly, the same species of field mice deployed short
Oh,
tails when they
no.
live in the prairies, or long tails
Oh,
with additional vertebrae if they live in forested habitats. The longer tails of forest-dwelling mice is the result of non-random innate biomechanical sensors that respond
No,
to forested
it's
environments where longer
not.
tails are beneficial. This precise and purposeful bone length and number adjustments point to intentional design. So the variability
Pause.
we see between people
Pause.
Mice with
Again,
sensors?
that's a lie. What?
He said mice with sensors that make
Yeah,
for a
they
longer
sense the
tail?
environment. It's a lie. So that that example, I went on. I think it was on Orange Channel, and they use that because it's that stupid continuous environmental tracking, which is Randy Galuza's stupid argument, which has been wrong for 80 years. No, the differences between the mice, the field versus the forest mice, are genetic. They are genetic differences. They are not epigenetic. That paper lays out the genetics of the differences. They just didn't talk about it. They just avoided it. They are lying. They know they're lying. Oh my goodness. It's so stupid. I just can't with these people. If they bring up the blind cavefish example, where like
Probably not.
Randy
Yeah.
Galuza says, you don't think? Oh, they won't. We've already watched it.
I don't know. I haven't seen the whole video, but maybe.
Because that's another example he brings up. Because he brought up the mouse example, and he also brought up the blind cavefish, and he says this paper says that the cavefish develops eyes or doesn't, depending on whether there's light in the environment when it's born. The funny thing about that paper is it says that exact quote, but not. It says the amount of light does not affect whether they develop eyes. It was just like I can't. I just can't with these guys. They're so stupid.
It's almost the denial of inheritance. Like, they just they only develop in response to the environment, certain traits. Like it's.
Yeah, there's a debate. Go ahead.
It's like, to a degree it happens. There is phenotypic plasticity, but it's not the only thing that happens, of course.
Yes, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. There is phenotypic plasticity. The wall lizards I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The cecal valve is actually phenotypically plastic. You can change whether or not they have it based on their diet. So
but not in this case. And in the blind cave is not the case.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's just a lie. Oh my goodness. That it makes me think of a debate. I can't remember who it was with. Matt Dillahunty did had a debate with somebody where the guy was like, the Pharaoh hardened his own heart, and Dillahunt is like, it says right here, God hardened Pharaoh's heart, and the guy's like, the Pharaoh hardened his own heart. He goes, God hardened Pharaoh's heart. It's like it's like that. It's just the. Also, we have a super chat from Vandalia 1998 for $4.99. So is this video dumber or not as dumb as the 3 people from last week? I feel like the dumb from the last video was more spread out. This one's more concentrated. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. So we're just starting off. So to me, this already looks like a massive gish gallop because the title of this specific video had only one of the traits in mind,
Right.
and so I'm at a total loss why they're bringing up finch beaks and lizards, and because it has nothing to do with the title. It's
distractions to obfuscate the point. That's all it is to it.
Right. If their argument was, look, here's the evidence that that there is a significant difference, a statistically significant difference between people who have the muscle and people who don't, at least then they'd have like a semblance of an argument. But they admitted right off the bat, okay, well, it doesn't really have any it doesn't make any difference. But look at these other things.
Yeah. Ooh, shiny object. Ooh, shiny object over there.
Ooh, jingling keys. Ooh, look yeah.
Okay. I'm still waiting until we get to the actual topic of the video, but I think that was it. I'm guessing we're not getting there. But that's my guess.
No, I think that was it. They basically brought it up, said, well, there's no difference. But anyways, how about what's that over there? Squirrel.
Yes.
And sometimes people groups, such as having a palmaris longus or not, has nothing to do with evolution. It simply shows variability that was pre-engineered into our genes, passed down from Adam, the very first human. Are our ear muscles vestigial? This video claims that we have 3 ear muscles that are leftovers from evolution, and that our ears make a futile effort to pick up sounds from different directions. However, these muscles have structural purposes, not directional. During our development in the womb, these muscles affect the shaping of the ear. When they don't develop properly, all sorts of
I don't know if this.
Peter, can you go back slightly so I can see the quote? I didn't get to read the whole thing. Also, those look like differences in the pinna, not with the auriculars.
Right. I think those images are not from.
Okay. These ear muscles exert a major role in the form and positioning of the cartilaginous pinna. Defects in the development or function of specific ear muscles may give rise to particular deformations of the auricle.
I mean, this may be true, but again, even if this is true, it's still the fact that these muscles attempt to direct the ear into the direction
auricular I'm going to look this paper up. Hypermobility due to agenesis of the extrinsic muscles. All right, I'm looking this up right now. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Cited by how many did that say? 9 people. It's cited by 9 people in 26 years. Okay.
Ooh.
A patient is. Wait, is this right? Yeah, auricular hypermobility due to agenesis of the extrinsic muscles. Okay. A patient is presented with complaints of hypermobile right ear due to agenesis of the superior and posterior auricularis muscles in a thin concha cartilage. Suturing the concha cartilage to the mastoid bone and temporal fascia gave sufficient support to the external ear without creating a gross difference in appearance of both ears. That's it? That's it? It's literally about a patient who had a slight deformation, and so they just sutured it, and that's it. That's the whole thing.
So it appears that there's the one muscle on one side pulls the ear into a completely different shape compared to the other ear. So they corrected it to make it more symmetrical. But apparently,
that's basically it. Yeah, that's really it.
All right.
That's the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, you can find.
I'm curious. I'm curious. This is about plastic and reconstructive surgery.
Yes.
isn't
Right.
it?
Right.
I'm
Not
trying. I'm
development.
trying to find some kind of defense because literally all of the names on screen are Dutch. I don't know if Nestle already noticed.
But
Well-
but again, even if we assume that these muscles are very important for the development of these external ears, it's still the fact that these muscles attempt, but in futility, attempt to pull the ear into the wrong direction of the sound. That's the vestigial part.
Don't you love that the
Yeah.
only article they could find to support them is a guy got minor reconstructive surgery
Yeah,
on
right.
part of his ear?
Well,
and
there's
that's it?
Jackson. There's a reason. There's only one name because it is a case report for plastic surgery from 1996.
Yeah, they couldn't find
That-
anything more recent on like the genetics or development of
Yeah, but
the
it's not-
auricular muscles.
It's not a scientific paper. It's a case report.
No, I just think it's funny that like the best evidence they could
Yeah.
marshal in their favor is a plastic and reconstructive surgery paper from before I was born. That's the best thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. Like
Yeah. And even,
Good job,
and even,
guys.
even assuming it is correct, it's still not getting the point of vestigiality. Like
Yeah.
I can bring up like an example of vestigial that is fully functional. And my favorite one is the wing of the penguins, right?
Mhm.
Because there is no argument that those flippers or wings are fully functional, but they are still clearly wings. Yet they cannot use them for flight, and that's what makes those things vestigial, even though they are
Mhm.
fully functional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we can keep going.
Muscles affect the shaping of the ear. When they don't develop properly, all sorts of abnormalities emerge that can require
Okay, pause.
surgery. These helpful
Oh well. But okay, all those pictures looked like deformations of the pinna, not the auricular muscles. Am I crazy? That's what those look like.
Mm-hmm.
And that they weren't from that paper, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, look
right.
at that. They weren't from the paper that they just cited. And
No.
look, it's pointing at different parts of the pinna. That's not. What is happening? This has nothing to do with the auricular muscles.
No,
Oh my-
I don't think it also has to do anything with the muscles. No, I think it's just like a different deformity unrelated to the muscles.
Yeah. That's insane. That's absolutely okay. So they cited a paper about a guy getting minor reconstructive surgery and pointed to a bunch of pictures of a completely unrelated phenomenon as evidence that the auricular muscles are totally 100% necessary.
Can I just
This
add?
is the most weak sauce argument I've ever seen. Oh my goodness.
Can I just add that posting this picture, putting this picture in the video, doesn't make your intelligent designer look that. I mean,
This is a sad argument. My goodness, this is a sad argument. Oh gosh. All right, we can keep going.
abnormalities emerge that can require surgery. These helpful muscles anchor the ears during development, support blood circulation to the side of our heads, protect the underlying structures, and stabilize the outer
doesn't
ear in
look-
its proper location. So, while
Wait,
our ear muscles were
wait,
not
hold on.
intended
Hold on. It didn't in the picture. You don't have to go back, Peter. But in the picture where they were talking about the blood vessels, it didn't even show the auricular muscles. It didn't even show them in that picture. This is so stupid. Oh my good. Wait, protection for what? Or from what? How are the muscles?
Just an extra muscle layer that dampens impact. Apparently, I don't know.
How are the muscles that sit behind your ear protection? What, for your ear? I guess for your head, but isn't that what your skull is for? Okay, so they don't provide structural support. They don't. I mean, maybe they do very slightly shape the ear position during development. Okay, whatever. the picture you provided had nothing to do with blood circulation, and I have no idea what protection has to do with anything, but whatever. Jake Nelson for $5 says bait and switch. Yes, 100% bait and switch. My goodness. Nothing else but. That's all they have. Do you guys have anything you want to add?
I know. I think I have also made my point about like even assuming everything is right about structural support and such, it's still missing the point of what makes it vestigial.
And they haven't even brought that up. They haven't even brought it up that your ear does attempt to turn.
They mentioned it at the beginning that they just
okay.
they just ignored it. They
just like they
ignored.
So this is the second time they've like brought up the thing that defeats their argument, but just ignored it.
Like they said like, oh, it attempts to redirect it, but wait, there is other things about it. That, sure.
It makes me think of the meme of the guys from Top Gear, or the guys like, oh no. Anyway, that's what that makes me think of. Okay, we can keep going.
To move to better capture sound. They serve other purposes as though they were designed. In fact, aren't we missing something here? Like the amazing design of the ear itself? Our sophisticated hearing system is made up of 5 separate components that don't make...
What does that have to do with anything?
There's another shoehorned in argument about irreducible complexity.
This is literally, but squirrel. Jingling keys. This has nothing to do with anything. They're like, you know what else is cool?
They often do this. Like they shoehorn in another argument that is not really related to the topic at hand, but still,
that's what they're doing right here. It's but look at this amazing design that has nothing to do with the topic that we're talking about. But we can just throw it in.
They make another argument about irreducible complexity, like I don't see any way how this could have evolved, so therefore design.
Which is funny because the inner ear bones are actually super good evidence of the process of evolution, and we did a video where we talked about that not too long ago.
And next they make a claim that is bonkers, but let's hear the claim.
Let's keep going.
Any sense by themselves, but when combined together, they make a complete system that allows us to hear. It all starts with the outer ear, which is specially shaped to capture sound waves so they can travel through the ear canal. These sound waves press against our eardrums and wiggle 3 tiny bones called the hammer, anvil, and stirrup that amplify the signal by a factor of 1.7 times using leverage. This mechanical process converts to a hydraulic process by pressing against the cochlea, which again amplifies the signal, this time by a factor of 22 times. The fluid inside the cochlea moves over 20,000 microscopic hair cells that are connected by tiny molecular linking springs, causing an electromechanical transduction process that transforms the sound vibration into a neural signal that is immediately comprehended as speech. Just how did evolution dream all of this up? These 5 separate systems, each of which is purposeless and meaningless without the others, all connecting to make an overall hearing system that truly shows intentional...
Let's just pause for a moment, because all that's stupid.
Ooh, nifty.
I have to rest my brain for a minute. Yeah, right. Ooh, pretty. Ooh. So, is this irreducibly complex? No, it's not. Amphibians, for instance, don't have a pinna, and they can suck... I can English, I promise. They conduct sound just fine without it. They have a tympanic membrane. They don't need a pinna. They do just fine. They don't have 3 middle ear bones. Only mammals have those. And again, birds and reptiles can conduct sound just fine without a pinna and without 3 middle ear bones. What he's showing is a specifically mammal, not even all mammals. Monotremes have an uncoiled cochlea. So this is...
do they? Oh, yeah, they do, yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so only therians, so marsupials and placental mammals have all these features. I think. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not 100% positive. But
I can help you out, Jackson. This was entirely human, because I don't know if you picked up on that as well. He said the hairs, the movement of the hairs is immediately interpreted as speech.
Well, I
I-
mean,
that
yes,
has to be the dumbest
yeah,
thing.
for humans. Yes,
No, but not every
humans-
sound you hear is speech. So
no, not for sound. For talking, yes, but yeah, for talking, yes. But I'm just saying, in general, I think this structure, this set of structures, is specifically Therian,
Mhm.
because monotremes, platypus and echidna don't have a coiled cochlea. Birds, reptiles, amphibians don't have 3 middle ear bones. Like you say, or he says it's irreducibly complex, and yet we can point to lots of different animals that don't have this arrangement of features or have parts, but not all of them. Or we also know how the bones move from the jaw to the middle ear. We have that whole process laid out pretty much perfectly. And it's even partly recapitulated during embryonic development. So just, again, yeah, squirrel.
Yeah.
Shiny
Next, he will claim that each of these parts in the inner ear is functionalist on its own, which is not true.
Yep. Just factually not accurate. Actually, your bones. The thing about your bones can conduct sound anyways. They do that in reptiles, and birds and amphibians, etc. The movement of the bones from the ear was not so much they gained a totally new structure. It was they optimized a couple bones for conducting sound, rather than this is just a job they performed also, right? They now specifically do that instead of also functioning as being jaw muscles or skull muscles, I guess. So bones, skull, bones, and jaw bones, not muscles. So anyway, no, it's just dumb, just lies. Okay, we can keep going.
you want to read out the last comment from William Barnes?
If every sound is immediately interpreted as speech, this explains why creationists hear God everywhere. You know, maybe that might be
wrong.
true.
He's not wrong.
Is our ear similar to fish? Do we have the same bones and structure? I believe they have a. Is it they have the stapes, but that's it. That's the only bone that they have.
Oh no, I don't think. Well, the stapes is actually a modification of the quadrate bone of the paledoquadrate, I think.
So is that only tetrapods who have the stapes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Like fish have another bone behind the mandible, and the upper part of that other bone became the stapes. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Tetrapod evolution. Yeah.
Yeah, fish have other mechanoreceptors because they are in the water, and so they have like the lateral line system, which
they fully transduct sound via their jaws, basically. Like and then a few bones of their jaws became the stapes, and then later more jaw bones became inner ear bones in mammals.
Right. Yeah. It's all about optimizing jaw bones for sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Also, Brian Stevens makes a good point. In a microphone, you don't need a canal to amplify because the input from the drum is converted directly into electricity and becomes the signal, which points out again how evolution is kind of a Rube Goldberg kind of system to make things work. You have to work with the parts that you have at the time and not start reinventing entirely new things that would do the job better, which I think an intelligent designer would do.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. So Majestic, if you haven't watched the video that we did on the lava lizard, if you haven't watched the lava lizard's tail, which we put out, I guess, a couple months ago, I recommend that because we talk about the evolution of the inner ear bones in that video in some detail. So if you're curious about that, check that out.
I think they might not have seen that yet. Majestic feedback is came over from Arn Ra. They're usually in the side chat on every live show that
I
Arn
highly
does. So.
recommend watching the Ancestors Tale series that we're putting out on this channel.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
Oh, I got the name of the bone wrong. Like in fish, they have what's called the hyomandibula, and that bone became the stapes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, we can keep going.
Design. Without the cranial hearing nerve, what good are thousands of multi-length hair cells that interpret various sound frequencies?
Again, fish.
If the hair cells were not bathed in a solution with the perfect ratio of potassium and calcium, how could they transfer the sound signal? What purpose would the cochlea serve without
wait,
the
hold on,
3
pause.
tiny ear bones?
Pause. Okay, you already have nerves. You would have had nerves which have different ions that predate these, right? So that's
Also, yeah.
what even is this argument?
Also, fish have what's called lateral line organs,
Yep.
which are basically like these little channels in their skin, and which are I think they are connected with the open water.
Yeah,
And so
by a
when
canal,
like
yeah.
when like pressure waves or electrical signals travel through water, these lateral channels it makes the water flow within those channels, and those motions are picked up by the tiny hair cells, which are very similar to the hair cells in the ear too.
They're called mast cells because they look like little ship masts.
Yes.
And that's actually how fish are able to school. That's how they're able to move as a unit as they go through the water. Is they can all sort of do this at once, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So they basically hear with their skin.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. This argument is just nonsense. Just bonkers nonsense. Okay. All right.
That amplify the signal just enough for the whole thing to work. And did you know there's even a tiny tendon between the hammer and anvil that shifts the stirrup backward to protect the ear when sounds are too loud? How did chance evolution think that one up? Our hearing system is even self-lubricated with drainage tubes. And to think, this entire system runs on energy from what we ate for breakfast. Our hearing system has been carefully engineered to take invisible sound waves through a complex system that turns them into electrical signals that are heard as sound and immediately comprehended as speech. What's amazing is that we even do this in stereo.
Can we pause for a moment? He's literally just describing what it does, and it's just like, wow, evolution couldn't do that. Like, do you have any evidence?
No, it's a whole argument from personal incredulity. Like, I don't see how this can evolve.
Well, in all fairness,
textbook and being just like, wow.
I did just look it up. So we're now in part 2, which is all about the ear muscles and the hearing system. So they're probably just lining out how it works for not familiar with it. So that might be a thing.
I mean, it's like, you can do that with literally anything. You can describe it in such a way that like, wow, it sounds really complex, and then just also, like evolution, therefore impossible. Haha.
He mentioned the Eustachian tube, like which is a drainage system. But if I'm not mistaken, only mammals have those as well. Like I think it's a leftover of when the stapes, when the other inner ear bones moved, right? Like that's why they have these holes. I think you're right. Not. Yeah, I think
you're right.
So
I love the following part because we can do this in stereo, which probably is an evolutionary advantage if you can pinpoint where the sound is coming from. I'm just throwing out something.
There probably is, Like, is there a predator in front of me or behind me? I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was wrong. I think I was wrong. I think they do have the Eustachian tube earlier on. Yeah. It's not,
okay.
It may be like from the stapes, even like when the stapes moved from the jawbone to that's what created the Eustachian tube. That's an earlier structure. Yeah.
Okay. I say look it up, and then we'll get back to it. All right, let's keep going.
Having ears on both sides of our head enables us to determine the direction and distance of sounds almost immediately.
Wow.
Our brain even tracks how long it takes for sound to travel from one ear to the other to determine speed. How amazing is that? Our hearing system even does all of this while keeping our balance along the pitch, roll, and yaw axis. Realistically speaking, how could something like this evolve? Doesn't the design explanation make more sense? How could such an interconnected...
First, no, the intelligent design doesn't make any sense, especially given all the facts we've already shown. But also, all the things that he said, is there a selective advantage in being able to maintain your balance? Yes. Is there a selective advantage in being able to interact with your environment and interpret cues from your environment? Again, yeah. Who would argue against that? And if there's a selective advantage for it, then why do we need to invoke intelligent design?
I have to give
Oh.
them some additional credits because they did use race cars. As a Formula One fan, I can really appreciate that when they tried to point out that we can detect speed. I'm not sure if we can detect the speed of a Formula One car, but yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
we keep going.
Interdependent, complex hearing system arise by mere chance with no intentional design.
Evolution is
Even
just
the
chance.
starting
Yep.
systems in cars, which also have 5 components, are obviously put together by a designer to
Okay.
serve an overall purpose that is only evident when they are all put.
Okay,
is
I'm
completely irrelevant,
deducting.
but
I'm
alright.
deducting the points that I just gave now because what starting system of a car? How is this in any way, shape, or form analogous to the ear?
Because I said so. There you go.
Do we start up our ears in the morning? Is there a starting mechanism?
Yes.
I mean,
Your
what?
ears go. Rum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum,
Yes.
rum-dum-dum.
And they point out a flywheel. What does the flywheel do in the ear? I mean, the flywheel is there to keep a constant speed. What?
Peter, don't you have to like get up in the morning and like pull the like crank or whatever and be like, "Rum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum." Oh, now I can hear. Okay, it's all good. We're good now.
I mean, we're talking about the ear. They have an alternator there that is powered with engine rotation and then supplies electrical power. What does the ear do that I don't know? I'm at a complete loss. I've seen some analogies that are stupid, but this one takes the cake. I mean, what?
Yeah, that one's pretty dumb.
Okay.
Together in a certain way. Indeed, the 5 components of our hearing system were put together at the same time when we were made
Okay.
as complete, functioning humans who are well equipped for taking dominion over this planet God gave us. Some random hodgepodge of matter plus energy and time has never produced something with such function, purpose, and cohesiveness, with all of the independent parts requiring the other to make anything of use or value. Are goosebumps useless
False.
vestigial parts in
False.
humans today?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yep.
this is
Again, he just claimed that he just claimed that all these parts are only work together, but that's false.
Which we
That's noted.
we talked about ad nauseum, and if they knew anything about zoology, they would also know that's false. But of
Yeah.
course, they're apologists, so they don't, and they don't care. So anyway,
only humans matter.
yeah.
correct.
So we're-
Yep. Frogs don't exist.
we're now moving into part 3, which is about goosebumps. And
We're doing
so
good on time.
yeah, it means this is a good point for a common designer because he would take the bumps off of a goose and then put them on humans. That's probably it's a good.
Oh my goodness.
Let's continue.
Were they only
Alright.
beneficial for our furry mammal relatives because they raise hair and increase the amount of space for insulation? This video
No.
calls them another futile
Actually,
effort by our vestigial body
Peter,
parts.
Here, pause for
Actu-
a moment. I regularly actually raise all the hairs on my body, including the ones on my head, to scare off my opponents. So goosebumps are not vestigial for me. They work quite well.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
Yep.
and if you've noticed, we're back to video 1 now, where they're talking about that vestigial muscle again.
yeah. Anyway,
That's what does
Keep
that
going.
to do with goosebumps? Let's find out.
They're not. New research has confirmed both purpose and function for goosebumps.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. What did you say, Nestle?
he
Oh,
said
like I
Ermagerd Gershburps. That's what he said just now.
Yeah.
All right.
Stating, for us, naked apes, goosebumps are often thought of as a kind of evolutionary hangover, and people used to think the goosebump muscle was vestigial, an evolutionary remnant of no functional significance. Now, their 3D constructions have uncovered this muscle to be a lot more interesting than we thought. The
That doesn't
erector
mean it has
pili helps
function.
maintain vital stem cells of the skin. Their report continues, the lower end of the goosebump muscle is attached to the follicle, so it creates a
Okay.
stem cell niche, a place that protects and maintains stem cell populations. The upper end of the goosebump muscle creates a
Wait.
second stem cell niche.
Wait. Okay. So it sits on top of a spot where there are stem cells. What does that have to do with goosebumps, though?
I think many places have stem cells too, right? Like
That's
Yeah.
your skin has to regenerate all the time, so it's all over the place.
Right. Yeah,
on your skin.
there are stem cells, yeah, all over the place. It sits on some stem cells, therefore goosebumps have a function? What is that even argument?
it creates a stem cell niche, which is a cool name, and that's quite relevant.
I guess so.
What the hell is a stem cell niche?
You got me there.
I
A place that protects and maintains stem cell populations. You mean like the skin already does?
that were already there before the niche formed when the muscle contracted. Or am I just being stupid here? Because
what on earth does? Well, what I don't understand is why. What does this have to do with the muscle?
Nothing.
Right? Or what does this have to do with the actual function of the goosebump?
Nothing.
Right? What does that have to do with anything? Again, it's a red herring. Anyway, we'll have to finish
it's not a red herring. It's the only way to get in the term stem cell niche.
Well, I mean, it's a red herring in that they're trying to say it does have function, but by pointing to the fact that there are stem cells like sort associated with the skin where goosebumps also occur. Like what? That's like saying well, my house, or what is it? My living room isn't on fire, or just because like my neighbor's house is on fire or something. It's like what? I don't know. Or no, my house isn't on fire, therefore my neighbor's house.
An analogy, yeah.
My house isn't on fire, therefore my neighbor's house isn't on fire. You know. Anyway,
I've been there and done that, and I can tell you that is incorrect. I've lived in a house, in an apartment building actually, where apartment 2 floors down was on fire, and ours wasn't.
I guess I think these particular stem cells are required for example, the continuous growth of the hairs.
Mm-hmm.
But without those hairs, you wouldn't need those stem cells to begin with. So it's like it's not vestigial because it exists and it requires stem cells to exist. All right.
It can't be vestigial because it exists, Nestle. That's how that argument works. I mean, I could honestly see them making that argument. I mean, they kind of do that with genes already, right? Because they say there are no pseudogenes, right? If a gene exists, or if a pseudogene exists, it actually must have some clandestine function. We just don't know what it is, right? It exists, therefore it has function, which of course is nonsense.
It exists, and for it to exist, it has to have cells dividing. Oh, cells are dividing, so that's a function. Cells are dividing. All right.
Let's continue because there's another niche coming.
Yeah.
A second niche.
Yep.
Which is even more important in that it maintains the stem cell population for the entire outer layer of the skin. The muscle is like a dumbbell connecting the 2 vital stem cell niches.
I think these
He
guys
continues,
are like dumbbells.
Until we did this research, no one knew where the stem cells were in the epidermis. The stem cell population are very important in wound healing and skin cancer. From a practical standpoint, goosebumps help keep us warm by generating heat and trapping a layer of air when we're cold. Also, a team of Harvard researchers found that they may trigger new hair growth. They said, goosebumps are part of a 2-phased response to cold. In the first, the muscle below the skin is stimulated to form goosebumps. If this stimulation lasts long enough, the second phase kicks in, with the sympathetic nervous system calling for new hair growth and repairs for the old ones to be made in response to the cold. What an appropriate design.
So this we could put that to the test. So people that are growing bald, we can put them in a very cold climate and they would grow hair again. I don't think that's what happened.
I've never actually heard that. Nestle, have you ever heard of that before? That new hair growth is promoted by the function of goosebumps?
Never heard about that before.
If that were the case,
I'm gonna
Wouldn't-
say press X to jump.
Maybe like it could be like if you contract a muscle, it increases like slightly increases the temperature, and that increase in temperature promotes more metabolism. Maybe like I'm just guessing right now.
Wait, okay, hold on. This says, based on these results, the researchers propose that the muscle cells from a bridge between the nerve and stem cells and the hair follicle. In this way, the goosebumps might play two roles. They cause hair to rise in the short term and trigger more hair growth by stem cells in the long term. Okay. So eventually you'll have more hair. Okay. Cool.
I still doubt that, because then people at the North and South Pole would have more hair than the people living around the equator.
To test this idea, researchers compared mice exposed to either cold or normal room temperatures. The cold exposure first caused goosebumps, then boosted activity in sympathetic nerves, an increase in norepinephrine. Mice exposed to the cold started to produce new hairs in less than 2 weeks. So 2 weeks later. Okay. Quick later. When the cold lasts. Okay. I mean, that's cool.
I see like stem cells are all over, they are everywhere on the skin, like because the skin has to grow continuously to renew itself.
Yeah.
So it's just like it goes without saying, really.
Yeah, I'd be surprised to find that like our hairs trap.
Yeah, I
Hair.
don't think it works the same in humans.
I don't think that happens for us. Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
that's cool that like over a couple weeks it can promote hair growth, but the fact that it has the function of trapping air for warmth, and also like making yourself look bigger, which obviously it doesn't do that in us, right? So again, we have these functions in other animals, and it doesn't do that in us. So again, it is still vestigial.
I think this whole point was debunked in the Netherlands last winter, because we had a stark increase in gas prices. So the Dutch were advised to lower the temperature in their houses in order to avoid massive bills coming in at the end of winter. And so the Dutch may have had more goosebumps in this winter than any other winter, and I don't see any more hairy people when I go outside. So I probably didn't work. And this was over a period longer than just 2 weeks.
Well, also the article I was looking at even says, for animals with thick fur, the goosebumps response helps keep them warm, but it doesn't do so for people.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, it is vestigial. We can find functions that it has in other animals, but not in us. So, even though it does have a function, which again, vestigial does not mean functionless.
Like it's like saying, a blind cavefish eyes have blood flowing through them, so the eyes function to circulate blood. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the emu's arm, like, oh, there's blood flowing through the emu's arm, so it must be
right,
helping blood circulation somehow.
Yeah, demonstrating that a thing has some function does not in any way impact its vestigial nature. It shouldn't be that hard. Like, it really shouldn't be that hard. Okay. Anyway, you can keep going.
Continue.
A mechanism to generate heat when goosebump muscles contract, coupled with shivering to stay warm when we're cold, and a trigger for generating more hair if the cold keeps up. And let's not forget the emotional benefits connected with goosebumps, like when we are touched physically or psychologically.
Are you serious?
As always, even this body part plays multiple roles.
Are
our tailbones vestigial? This video claimed.
I don't know if you know this, but I knew a guy in a group, and he claimed that male nipples were for sexual arousal. That's their function.
Well, he is absolutely correct.
It reminds me of that, this claim about about the goosebumps being
right.
Yeah.
Yes, goosebumps evolved for sexual purposes. That is correct. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And we went from
Oh,
goosebumps
gravy.
to a close up of the anus and the tailbone, and now we're back to the muscle in the arm, because all of those are connected. Oh.
Well, he's just saying it was in that video, the Vox video from before. So, all right, we can keep going. I think we're going to
Our
finish early,
tailbones
actually.
are what's left of our ancestors' tails. Well,
Uh-huh.
did you know that the baby shown in the video with the supposed leftover tail had nothing
It's
of the
not a
sort?
tail.
This baby
It's-
actually
yeah.
had spina bifida, a condition where the backbone does not form normally, and a sac of
Uh-huh.
spinal fluid comes through an opening in the baby's back. Far from being a tail, this is an abnormality, an outgrowth of the
Yeah.
spinal cord, which is covered by
Uh-huh.
skin, as the body's way of protecting the bulging area. The actual reason for this baby's so-called tail was grayed out in their video. How desperate for evidence of vestigial organs must one be to
All right,
resort to
so-
malformations?
Let's pause.
I
So,
love it
so-
because this is actually a thing that Hovind uses a lot when he's showing humans with tails. Show pictures of things like this.
Yeah, so he's right. Yeah, this is a spina bifida or a sacrococcygeal teratoma or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so this is not obviously a tail in the sense that, or this just isn't a tail, right? This is an abnormality. So it turns out actually that we know what gene is involved in the cascade of genes that cause the development of a tail in other primates, and we know which gene, therefore we know what mutation knocked it out. And wouldn't you know, we happen to share the same knockout mutation in that gene with all the great apes. Ain't that funny? What a crazy coincidence, huh? Absolutely wild. There have been case studies of babies with actual tails where they have like a little piece of like the spine which sticks out of the body and is covered by skin. So those do happen. I think they're extremely rare, and that's not surprising at all to me, but they do happen. So
yeah,
and also
Brian,
again, we need to repeat the same point over and over again, but still, the coccyx still has a function, of course,
yep.
as anchor points to muscles, but we can still recognize it as a tailbone. So
right.
Yeah.
Brian Stevens put in chat.
Exactly.
He said he went to a school where with a girl who had 3 tail vertebrae removed. If you come across someone who suffers from this, make sure you contact Kent Hovind, because he will gladly pay to have those removed. He's on several videos saying that he will gladly pay for people.
There's a paper, I've seen it multiple times. It's like a neonate with a true tail or something like that, and it's about a baby who had multiple vertebrae, extending out of the body, or extending into like this little skin covered region that is like a tail, and it's not a teratoma; it is an actual tail. So, yeah. Okay. All right, we can keep going.
For confirmation, let's look at it this way. If our tailbones are truly just leftovers from the evolutionary process, why not just take them out whenever they cause trouble, like they used to do 30 years ago with tonsils when they
Yes.
considered them vestigial? The answer is because they serve so many functions.
Wait, people
That's
still
why
get their tonsils out.
Yeah.
People still get their tonsils out. I don't have my appendix anymore. I had an appendectomy in 2019.
Really?
Yes,
And
I did.
Did you have appendicitis?
I did. I had acute appendicitis. Yep.
Oh yeah,
So-
I remember you were like sore in the throat at one point a few years ago. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So the funny thing actually about the appendix is while I was writing the first draft of the vestigial organs chapter for The Rocks Were There, I actually had appendicitis. So I got a
coincidence.
first-hand look at how super useful the appendix is. And you know
Mhm.
what? It's been 4 years now, because it was in February, and I don't feel any different.
Yeah.
Right? Like nothing about my digestive tract is different
Yeah.
since then, or about my immune system. It's
There's also it's also very stupid. It's also a very stupid point. Like, oh, why not remove it? Like, because surgery is risky. You only
expensive.
remove it when it is troublesome. So yeah, you only do it when it becomes a problem.
Right,
that's the point of surgery.
So Menton makes that argument. He says people elect to have surgery. I call bogus. I would like to see evidence of that people are having elective like adenoid surgery and whatnot. And I've never seen it. Have never seen it. So
there is cases there is cases where somebody goes on an operation for a different reason in the same area, and then they say like, oh, we are opening you up, so if you want, you can also remove your appendix with it. So it's like we are already there, so why not remove it too, like something like that. That's because in case you get an appendicitis, then you already don't need to go again under surgery. So it's like a double purpose surgery basically, you know. Yeah. So why not do it too? Like so, and
why not take out half of your liver? Why do it? You know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I could live without it, but why? It's so dumb. Such a dumb argument.
Continue.
Why not just take out a kidney? I mean, you can live with only one kidney. I mean, yeah, but why? Why do it? What's the point? Okay. Technically, you can live. Well, if you're young and you have a hemispherectomy, the other half of your brain will make up for the missing portion, or so I understand it. And it's like, does that mean we should take out half of our brain? No, that's not what that means at all. It's a bad argument. Anyway, we can keep going.
Removing the tailbone is regarded as a last resort by medical experts. After treating hundreds of patients with tailbone issues over the last 20 years, Dr. Shakib has this to say about tailbone removal.
You have to understand, despite what people say, or the whole mindset of, oh, your tailbone, you don't need it, this is part of evolution, and it was a tail, forget about that part. It
she's a creationist.
Plays a role.
Okay. I don't want her as my doctor.
Providing an anchor to a lot of ligaments, and it provides support for a lot of structures in your pelvic floor, pelvic wall, the integrity of your whole pelvis. It's not there just to hang out there. It's not there because, it was like extra body part, what are we going to call it? Call it coccyx and put it in the pelvis situation. It actually has a function. So it's like
pause for a moment. Do they not think that like the tail provides muscular support in other primates? Do they not think that? Because it does. It also acts as a site of muscle attachment for various ligaments in the pelvis, right? Like, that's not just an argument for us. It does that in other animals. We just don't use it as a tail anymore, right? We see it in other animals. We know what these genes do. We know what they're not doing in us, but they're still doing this other job, which they also do in other animals.
It's like even Darwin said I think in The Origin of Species, I can pull up the quote. He says, an organ serving for two purposes may become rudimentary or utterly aborted for one, even the more important purpose, and remain perfectly efficient for the other purpose.
Yep.
So yeah.
Darwin said that in 1859, and these creationists are still lying about this in the year of our Lord 2023? Wow. Who would have thunk it? All right, we can keep going.
So you put a bar right here to have an apex for a tent, to build a tent around. Look at it like that. While you're under that tent, without that tip, the tent's gonna fall. So this coccyx or tailbone actually provides quite a bit of structural integrity support for the muscles, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissues there. So if you're told,
no one is arguing
your tailbone doesn't seem to go away, let's remove it, you're more than likely trading one problem.
Wait, she said your tailbone doesn't seem to go away. Who's claiming that it's going away?
It's well, Peter. Don't you know that like people apparently say that your tailbone is just disintegrating as you get older? That's a thing now. Apparently, it happens.
Well, if you sit around all the time, perhaps.
Yeah, it just turns to dust and
Are you
disappears.
are you guys just watching me because I'm older and I sit around a lot because I do a lot of my work on a computer, which just makes me sit because I hate standing up. I can't work when I'm standing. But
If my doctor ever told me, like, if they ever said something like this to me, where they indicate they were a creationist, I would seek a new doctor.
yeah, me too. Definitely.
I like no, wrong. Get me a new person.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know. I would if their record is good, then I have no problem with that. If they're like their treatment of patients is like a
I don't know.
If they have a good record, then yes.
There's a famous brain surgeon in the United States, and I won't say his name.
Ben Carson.
I do not want him operating on me. Not ever. Not at all. He can be the best.
I don't agree with that.
No, I don't want that guy near me.
My opinion.
All I'm saying is conspiracies tend to run in circles. Multiple conspiracies tend to run in circles. So in the same circles. So
yeah,
I'm iffy. I'm very iffy if they were to say it. But if they didn't say it and I didn't know, okay. But if they do say it, I'm gonna start feeling rather uncomfortable. So
yeah, me too.
That's just my opinion. Anyway, we can keep going. Doesn't matter.
To a set of a bunch of other problems.
The tailbone has many functions. First, it's the terminal point of our spinal column. It's got to end somewhere, right? And rather than just ending with a regular vertebrae, our curved tailbones provide flexible, cupped support for our pelvic floor. Next, key muscle groups connect to the tailbone. They support the surrounding structures, help with delivering babies, sexual pleasure, and both bathroom functions. Support ligaments and the ganglion impar nerve also merge at the tailbone. The tailbone is also designed to bear weight when we sit, just like one leg of a tripod. When we're seated and lean back, the weight load is shifted almost entirely to the tailbone. Our tailbones are so significant that the medical community holds tailbone symposia and entire books are published on tailbone treatments.
Wow.
Finally, let's hear from pelvic floor specialist, clinician Hina Sheth, about how people can recover from tailbone removal surgery.
Removing the coccyx bones, even part of the sacrum, can actually have an effect on the rest of your body, and I want to talk to you why. This is where your spine would attach, and then this is your sacrum, and then there is your tailbone right over here. There's a lot of muscular attachments to the tailbone as well as to the sacrum. And this muscular attachment, part of it is the pelvic floor, which is a hammock-type muscle that basically starts at your pubic bone, and then it circles around and it hooks onto your tailbone. Okay, and there's lots of muscles in this area, 16 plus muscles of your pelvic floor.
Wow.
Most people think of a pelvic floor as one muscle, but it's actually several different muscles, and they have different attachments to many different areas. One of those being the tailbone, as well as part of the sacrum. And if these muscles were attached here, and you had this bone or part of this bone in the sacrum removed, then what happened to the muscles that were attached to that area? Chances are they may have not even done anything. And so what ends up happening is these muscles can become dysfunctional. And the rest of the muscles have to, if these muscles aren't working correctly anymore because they were either resected or cut off, then the rest of your muscles are probably going to compensate or overwork potentially to make up for the fact that these guys are no longer working anymore. And if these muscles get super, super tight, because they're overworking, and then it can affect everything from sexual function to emptying your bladder to emptying your rectum. So that's going to interfere with constipation, and it can interfere with intercourse, and it can interfere with emptying your bladder. And it can cause everything from urinary frequency, meaning you feel like you have to go all the time. It might even give you burning with urination. It can give you pain with having a bowel movement, or again, related to constipation, because now you can't sufficiently relax these muscles for the stool to come out. But the other thing is it can also create a lot of hip pain, and the reason why is because a lot of this musculature, two muscles
is
in
this under
particular
fair
called the
use?
piriformis and the
I hope
optic
so, because
This
otherwise
actually
we're going to be in a lot of
to
trouble.
the hip.
Technically, I think yes, because we're allegedly commenting on this work, right?
This is fair use.
No, but I mean them.
All YouTube videos fall under fair use. So if they try, then I will fight back, and I'm pretty sure I'll win.
I mean them. Like they use a very long clip of somebody else.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
so the only problem is if they're using this clip of and because we don't know where this came from. So
that's true.
From listening to this woman, it sounds to me that when you've got your coccyx removed, you have to perform a certain amount of training in order to make sure that the other muscles don't overact and start causing all of these problems. If that is the case, and they pulled this clip from there in order to make a point for intelligent design, then this woman could actually take action and have their video taken down. Because then it's no longer
title of the video, and the channel is in the bottom left. You can see like a tiny screenshot of the of the original channel, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I'm just pointing out if this has nothing to do, if this video of the woman has nothing to do with intelligent design, and they're trying to use arguments that she's pointing out for a completely different reason as support for intelligent design, then the woman could have their video taken down, even when they're using it under the guise of fair use, because then it's no longer fair use. Because you're not commenting on her video, which is what we're doing right here, but you're using your video to make your point, probably without consent of the person who's in the video. So there's a difference.
All right.
Okay, continue.
Yeah.
And it could also cause low back pain, because part of the role of these muscles in the pelvic floor is to actually help to stabilize the pelvis as well as the spine. For some of you who might be having sacroiliac joint pain, which is this joint right over here, this sacrum attaches to a pelvic bone, and this is called your sacroiliac joint. So if you have pain in that low back, or even pain in your lumbar spine, or even changes in your lumbar spine, this could be something that has developed over time because of the change due to the removal of the coccyx or the sacrum.
As always, even this body part plays multiple roles. What's going on here? Body part by body part, we're finding out that our Creator designed humans from the outset as complete beings with multifunctional and whole interconnected systems with no leftover parts. Just look at our circulatory, respiratory, nervous, digestive, and skeletal systems. No people group on Earth is without these systems, and they're not evolving over time.
Are you serious?
The evidence of fully functional design fits the concepts that all our systems were.
This is where we needed the gorilla. Right?
Yeah.
But for the people who don't know, we talked before that Jackson said at sometimes I'm just screaming, so we need a gorilla or somewhat screaming or running through the screen when we're completely annoyed. This was one of those parts where we would need it.
Yeah, no, there's no evolution whatsoever. Gestures at differences in these systems within groups of organisms that creationists believe are related. Whatever. Dumb. All right, keep going.
Well, and we've got 5 minutes left. So
oh, really? All right, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Were installed complete from the beginning. While the basic components of these systems don't need to change much, God designed
Really?
some parts of our bodies to continuously adapt to our environments, turning on or off, or dialing up or down gene expressions. These shifts help each generation to accommodate for
No.
changing conditions like diet,
Nar.
climate, and sunlight as we express creative
Nar.
variations on the human theme. These changes can occur quickly over just 1 or 2 generations, such as fat retention. Other changes
That's
can occur over several generations.
epigenetics.
Can I point out that for
That's-
every single claim
That's how evolution works.
yeah, for every single claim they're trying to put up a paper or a video or whatever, he just made the claim God designed it. Let's see him back that claim up, because that's the claim that they will never back up. I'm just saying God did it, but can I justify that? No. There's nothing.
Yeah, he just kind of goes, this stuff. However, God.
Yeah.
And that's really it. There's just jump.
I mean,
I like that he's basically, he just said, like, what he said is evolution. He was like, yeah, sometimes changes occur over multiple generations. Congratulations. Welcome to our side.
yeah.
Welcome to the club.
And I'm so curious, how does God make all those changes over several generations? What does he do? What mechanism does he use in order to make those changes over several generations? Or are they pre-programmed? I don't know.
Whether fast or slow, changes like muscle configurations such as the palmaris longus, wisdom teeth, body shapes and sizes, hair, and
even
others
talk about
only
wisdom
reflect
teeth.
the truth that God engineered variability within us so we could effectively multiply and spread across the earth as he commanded. Have you ever considered that while
That's all well and good. He can put it in us so we can multiply. What is triggering the changes, though? Because some changes trigger based on the location or based on what people do in their daily lives. What is the triggering thing that makes these changes to come about? That's the part that I want to know about. If your claim is correct, then put up a mechanism. And put up a mechanism that will prevent more changes after the first changes have happened, which is what happens in evolution. You have changes and you can have other changes after you had the first changes. According to creationists, that doesn't happen. But what is the mechanism that is stopping the changes? Still waiting for that.
You got me there. Magic invisible wall. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions.
Probably. God said stop, and it stopped.
Don't go any further.
Mm-hmm. All the other
go.
things God wants to stop, he can't stop. Those are the things humans have to stop doing. Because God can't stop it. Right?
Right.
Okay.
humans change and adapt over time, all the fundamental systems of people groups around the world are both
Humans
identical
adapt
and
over
complete.
time?
Consider any healthy hearing system. Each comes complete with mechanical, hydraulic, electrochemical, and signal processing systems all
Wow.
perfectly assembled and integrated to capture sound and interpret speech, all in real time. Can random chance really design, build, and assemble
Yes.
precision-engineered instruments like hearing? Consider
Yes.
the intricate design of our two eyes. Each of our two eyes have
Wow.
millions of working parts, clean themselves 20 times per minute, have 107
Wait,
million
pause.
light-sensitive cells.
Pause. When he says millions of parts, he means millions of the same type of cell. That's like saying your skin is composed of millions of parts when it's the same cell over and over again. Dishonest hackery is what that is.
It's actually trillions if you count the atom.
Right. Well, right. I mean, might as well. I mean, yeah, why not? Quadrillions of parts. Could evolution design that? You know.
Well,
Yeah. No, that's just dishonest hackery is what that is.
speaking about dishonest hackery, we are still in the video that is about the coccyx. Obviously, we have to talk
Right.
about the eyes.
Yep. The eye is composed of quadrillions of atoms.
Yes.
Could evolution have?
And that's why the coccyx is not vestigial. That's the point
Exactly.
they're trying to make here. I just wanted to point that
Yes.
out. This is the point they're trying to make. The coccyx is not vestigial because eyes.
Oh my gosh, they're dishonest. Oh well, they're creationists. You know that. What did I say? I'm sorry that I'm being redundant. They're dishonest creationists. They're creationists. All right.
Well,
Anyway,
we have 3.5 minutes of dishonesty left, so let's enjoy.
All right, we can finish this. Yeah.
Capable of seeing a candle 1.7 miles away and can distinguish 10 million colors using 576
Wow.
megapixel photo sensors, about 50 times
Wow.
more than our smartphones. All people
Wow.
groups around the world have this complete system, and no groups are still in the process of evolving them.
You know what
how
our smartphones
speed
don't
works.
have? You know what our smartphones don't have? Blind spots.
That's true.
Because
also,
we don't
what he
put
basically
the
said is-
wiring of the light sensitive chip in front of the chip.
Did you hear what he said? He said humans are not presently evolving eyes. That is what he said.
Mhm.
The abject stupidity of saying that humans are evolving eyes when the eyes that we have are the same type of eyes that fish have. The vertebrate eye is pretty similar all across. There are minor differences like nictitating membranes and stuff, but the basic plan of the eye is pretty much the same from fish to us.
Mhm.
So saying that, oh, well, you don't see any humans with half an eye. You don't see any humans with half an arm either. That's how species work.
And also,
you dummy.
And also, seeing all these different kinds of colors, that's not only up to the eye. Because there's a tribe somewhere in Africa, I forgot which tribe it is, that can see more colors of green than any other human on the planet. And this is because they've got names for every different shade of green. They can distinguish between two different shades that are extremely close, and we couldn't differentiate. They can, because they've got names for everything. So seeing of the different colors also has to map with whether or not in your language you have a name for a specific color.
Yeah, that's true. So, but additionally, we also know how our color vision evolved, right? The genes that our is it which one is it? I think it's the green. I think it's the green one. Is like a duplication of our red, the gene for the red photoreceptor, isn't it?
I'm not sure which one, but I think
I think it's the green.
I think it's the green one. Yeah.
So we had blue and red first, and then the red got duplicated to produce and then the green. One of the versions of it got neo-functionalized to be green. Is that intelligent design?
Was it the red one?
Or maybe it was backwards.
One?
Maybe it was it was blue and
green.
green, and then the green got duplicated and neo-functionalized to be red. Either way, that seems pretty evolutionary and not very intelligent designy, because it's a duplication followed by a neo-functionalization instead of like just making a new gene for it. I don't know. It seems like it would have been easier just to make it.
Well, William Barnes added, our eyes do not see millions of colors. They see 3, or in some people 4. The millions of colors comes in post-processing.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
The brain interprets the colors.
Right. That's what, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. That is a really good point, William.
Yeah. Continue?
Yeah.
Our human design may even be more incredible than you previously imagined. Did you know that our eyes are connected to our ears to form a complete navigational system? Try this experiment. Extend your thumb in front of you and fix your gaze on your thumbnail. Then move your head left to right, then up and down. Then try it again, moving your head even faster in all directions. Do you think your eyes moved when you did this, or just your head? Actually, both your eyes and your head moved. That's because your eyes and ears are connected with a motion-sensing system called the vestibulo-ocular reflex. This gaze-stabilizing reflex transforms your head movements into motor commands that generate compensatory eye movements in the opposite direction of your head to ensure stable vision. This built-in image stabilizer system coordinates our sight, complete with 2 eyes with 12 directional muscles, with our hearing system that includes 2 ears with semicircular canals that can...
And our coccyx, which allows some muscles to attach to, because that's still the video we're on, whether or not the coccyx is vestigial. So we're slightly off topic, but
Yeah.
contain motion sensing fibers, each complete with microscopic springs that open and close biochemical gates to create polarization waves that travel along 3 nerves, so our eyes and head are perfectly coordinated to turn in opposite directions simultaneously.
That is what nerves do.
And let's not forget that this entire system depends on the constant gravity of this planet and no
Are
other.
you serious?
Perhaps this coordinated dual apparatus system is why God says in Proverbs, the hearing ear.
Okay.
we're now to the planet and gravity, trying to debunk why the coccyx isn't vestigial.
Actually, the Earth is flat, therefore debunked.
So I've seen Hovind make some really, really weird leaps when he's trying to debunk something, but this probably beats everything. We're talking about the coccyx, and we're ending up with gravity and the planet.
Don't you know that the coccyx isn't vestigial because gravity exists? Checkmate atheist.
There is the alternative theory of intelligent falling. Intelligent falling.
Oh,
what is that?
In order to fall down, you have to go in a specific direction, so that requires design, of course.
Of course.
Well, in all fairness,
rivers flowing downhill requires a committee.
There is intelligent falling, which is what keeps our satellites in space. Because they're constantly falling, but they're also moving in a straight line fast enough to keep the same distance from Earth as they're falling. So could make a point. You could make a point that we've invented intelligent falling, which is something that I don't know if God invented that. Oh well, maybe the moon, but
it's not falling. It's flying. It's not flying. It's falling with style.
Falling with style. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's finish this video.
And the seeing eye. The Lord has made them both. Where are the human groups with evolving versions of this or any other system? We all share this same system. How could time, death, and chance assemble our hearing system with 5 independent machines that work on 4 different platforms, yet interface with our 2 eyes and all their complexities? Only by turning a blind eye to such intelligent, intentional, efficient, synchronized, and correlated systems can we deceive ourselves into thinking that our bodies came from evolution's...
Okay, I found the link. Wait, I paused on an entirely black screen. So I found the link. So the reason they brought up the eyes is because you can turn a blind eye to the coccyx being vestigial. How's that? I tied it in.
Thank you, Peter. This is why we pay you the big bucks.
We've got 1 minute and 27 seconds left. So.
Okay, let's finish the video.
Endless airs. We are better by acknowledging our Creator for designing such amazing systems.
No.
In closing,
we're done.
we would like to...
Peter, we're done. We're done.
Are we done? Are we done?
Yeah, we're not doing the altar call. We're not doing the altar call. We're not doing that.
No.
Get it.
Yeah.
All right, we're done. All right.
Oh.
Okay, so that was a load of hot garbage. All right, so that was
the first time we have reviewed a whole video in one show.
Yes.
We did it, folks. Oh, that means I have to go find another video. Oh boy. Well,
we have another 60 minutes, but I think we can end it right here, right? Or do you want to continue?
We have 15 minutes.
15 minutes, yeah.
15, yeah. Yeah, so, well, all of that was lies. Their arguments were hilariously bad. They didn't discuss what vestigial means. Well, they lied about it. They made some hilarious red herrings to try to distract you from what their argument actually was. I think that about covers it. I don't think there's nothing of substance in any of those videos.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts you guys want to put forward on that?
No, that summarizes it pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm still
Yeah,
I'm
it
still
just
at a loss on how many things they got in that were completely irrelevant to the topic of the video. Because this has to be a first.
Yeah.
Making a video about the coccyx and covering everything up to the eyes and gravity and the planet. I mean,
it's because Peter. No, you see, Peter, the coccyx is near an orifice associated with waste, and they're up to their eyes in waste.
in waste, yes,
Because they're
it's probably it's
Thank
the
you.
coccyx is
I'll be here
near
all
to the
week.
orifice they're talking out of.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. They
Okay,
have a cranial
well,
blockage of the rectum.
I don't know if what was it Aaron Rowe said, like, if you can't convince them with arguments, dazzle them with ignorance.
Yes.
Or something.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I've heard that phrase. I don't know if he was the one who invented it, but yeah, I've heard that phrase.
I was looking for that quote the entire video. I thank you for finally bringing it up, Nestle, because I was breaking my brain on what the exact quote was and where I heard it. But yeah, that was what this was. We will talk about a few things and but look at this and we can grab this and we can show you this and have you seen my keyboard? It works. I mean, how the hell do people do this?
Like their first two arguments were, yeah, these things don't do anything.
Oh, yeah.
But consider...
Smitty got the correct quote. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah.
And I brought a dog. I brought a dog. And my dog is now really excited because we had all these arguments. So I have no clue what's happening, but he's excited.
They're getting mauled over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was just... It was so bad. So bad.
It was a great
here's
video.
hoping that this doesn't get like demonetized by the creationists, you know. And maybe it will, because is it Genesis Apologetics or AIG? Which one is the one who likes to attack
AIG. AIG.
Okay,
AIG
I got you.
will take down your video mid video. Also, so I trolled a friend of mine, Ember, last night. He was reviewing the other Harry Potter, which was a movie from the 80s, and it got taken down the moment someone said the name Harry Potter in the video. Not even kidding.
Okay.
That was a copyright strike. Someone said Harry Potter in the video that he was reviewing, and boom, he was gone.
That's wild.
In the middle of a live stream. He got back later, but he got an email that he had got a copyright strike because of Potter. And I was there. I created a sock account. I don't recall what I think I named it Harry Potter Official, and I was in the side chat. Are you talking about me? So that was a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, yeah, that video was awful. Now we have to find some new garbage to watch for next week. I hope we
can go next level and react to like a raw math video.
You said next level. I feel like that's like the floor level. That's level 0.
Right. It's the ninth circle of hell. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it is.
I'm not letting you watch on Raw videos anymore. Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Icarus says, why not Voldemort, he who shall not be named? Why was that not what got him booted? Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll I'll see if old Maddie has put anything out recently.
My earbuds out.
It was a joke. I don't want to do.
Well, I haven't checked it. But yeah, it is his videos are just so dumb. Like they're almost pathetically dumb. You know, I just feel kind of sad for him at the end.
But again, I I was actually joking. I do not want to do that. But
Okay,
but
alright,
if you want, it's your channel, so you can decide.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I take the hint.
Yeah.
I'll look. I'll see. Maybe I'll do what actual Jake does. I'll say send me trash. So if anybody watching wants to send me trash, regarding creationism that you want us to
Actually,
review.
I like you know that I have like a long time ago there were some videos that were taken down by them, and I saved them and showed what they were deleting from their old videos, such as such. So
Are you talking
perhaps
about?
you can
Are you talking about the Standing for Truth videos?
yeah.
Well, didn't we do that? Didn't we? We talked about that in a video way back where
All
we
right.
Yeah.
in because
That's true.
Rational Mind did it. It was Rational
that's
Mind did
true.
that.
Yeah, that's true.
Besides, I really don't want to review anything about those idiots over there.
No.
What, you don't want to cover?
I mean,
you don't want to cover how to become a breatharian? I mean, that would be a good topic.
I mean, Raw Matt honestly looks like he's a breatharian.
He was for a long time.
He does not look healthy. The man doesn't look healthy.
It was.
No.
Someone give him a chicken nugget or something. I don't know. He doesn't look healthy. But
is Venom Fang X still active?
I don't think so.
So somebody in the live chat.
Last time
Somebody
I
mentioned
saw Venom Fan X, he was a video editor for Answers in Genesis. So he's moved up in the world. I haven't seen his name in the credits lately, so I have no clue if he's still working there. But he was part of the group that was compiling the video for the Is Genesis History movie. That's where he worked on. He filmed some of the interviews, if I'm not entirely mistaken.
Wow. Yeah, Smitty points out, I remember that name from old Amazing Atheist videos. Yeah, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, that's way back in the day.
There is a story behind that, because Venom Fan X got taken down, not by YouTube, not by other content creator, but by his. They took away his computer.
His what?
His parents.
His parents?
His parents. Yes. At some point,
no.
At some point, his parents figured out what he was doing on YouTube and that he was getting paid and stuff, and they just took away his computer and canceled the internet.
That's so weird.
Yes.
That's so bizarre. If my parents, I'm sure they'd be like, "Oh, you're making money. That's great, wonderful," or something.
I'm pretty sure your parents would have an issue with you making money in the wrong way. So,
people, I just want to actually no, I probably can't say that on YouTube. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Anyways, I was gonna say something, but I decided against it. Yeah, that's my goodness, that's way back in the day. Venom Fang X, him, and I don't watch King Crocoduck so much anymore. I think he's like on super obsessed with feminists and stuff, and he got all obsessed with that, and I kind of stopped watching it.
Yeah. The other guy, what was it?
It's very
the guy from the UK. Thunderfoot, same thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thunderfoot recently does only science right now.
Yeah, but he kind of ruined his channel.
That.
He kind of ruined his channel going after feminists and.
Well, that was a big thing back in like the early 2010s. Early 2010s. Was like everybody started jumping on the anti-feminist bandwagon, and I'm really glad that like I wasn't doing anything back then and stuff, and because I was absorbing a lot of that material, because these were guys who I'd watched before for their atheist and creationist debunking content, and now suddenly they're like they've jumped over and they're talking about anti-feminists, and back then I was like I was on board with that back then, but then later I was like, oh, this is weird. Why are we doing this?
It's like I think somebody like got a whole lot of views from doing that content, and then everybody just jumped on that same content.
Oh yeah, like
because of the
Armored
views.
Skeptic and
Yeah.
and then there was the whole Gamergate where that whole like
Mhm.
anti-feminist culture led into like neo-Nazis and all that sort of stuff, and we're still dealing with the fallout of all that. So good job,
Yeah.
guys. You did great.
Yeah.
Good
And
job.
there's actually the argument that Gamergate led directly to the presidency of a certain guy.
I don't buy that, but I don't buy that. But I mean, he lost. Remember, he lost
Right.
the popular vote. So
Right.
yeah, I don't think
Right.
so. But however, regardless, lots of people did jump on that, and that was an inroad to more extreme people. Yeah, like Sargon of Akkad, who were more on the right and far right, and that was sort of a way for them to all sort of get in on it too.
It's a coincidence. It's funny that you mentioned like King Crocodile, because yesterday I was on Speed's channel, and like he wanted to talk about like some of his recent videos about social constructionism of science and such, and yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I like none of that sort of stuff really interests me. Like if my thoughts on that are this, because I've seen several of like the videos. If they're doing actual harm, if like the feminists or whoever the social constructivist people, if they're doing actual harm, yeah, take them down. If they're not doing like any harm, if they're just some lofty philosophers, over in their ivory tower and these are their ideas, I don't care. Like honestly, if it has no consequence whatsoever, like okay, I'm not
like the
Go
debate between science, like the debate between scientific realism and anti-realism. All right,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, at some point it's just
Whatever.
kind of like these ideas are so lofty and idealistic, and it's like it doesn't really have any bearing on reality anyway. And it's like, okay, I don't care. That's kind of how I feel, honestly. And feel free to yell at me in chat if you want. Like that's kind of how I feel about like the theistic metaphysics stuff. It's like it's all well and good to talk about stuff outside the universe, but if we have no way to deal with any of it, then what's the point? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, God does this and this and this and this. How do you know that? Do we have literally any evidence that this is the case? No. Well, it has to be true based on these logical theorems we come up with. But does it though? I don't think so.
Speaking of which, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central, we had to reschedule because Artie couldn't make it today. I'm going to have a guest on our channel who has a claim. This has something to do with the Christian God. So parents and a child, and I have to look at my screen because I can't wrap my head around it. So parents and a child tie into a will, which ties into a mind. I have no clue what it means, but he's going to tell us all about it tomorrow. So, 3 p.m. U.S. Central.
Well, at any rate, yeah. So we're approaching the hour. So yeah, tell me what you guys have coming up.
Yeah, that was it.
Nothing much, but I
that was it. Okay. What Nestle you got?
I just want to mention, like somebody mentioned that Thunderfoot was like going now after Elon. And that I think that's a good thing.
Go ahead.
Anyway, let's not mention going further. So yeah.
Yep. All right. So anything else coming up for you guys?
Yeah, on Sunday we've got our theist helpline where people can join us on the politics Discord server and tell us all about the God they think exists and why we should convince that a God exists. As for Orange Channel, we were supposed to have a show last night, which didn't air because Orange's internet was out for several hours. And so when I couldn't get in touch with him, I called him, said, yeah, my internet is out. I can't do anything at the moment. So we're trying to figure out when we're going to reschedule that. That's the Blasphemers Bible show. The Reading Joseph Smith is on a 2-week hiatus because Arn is going to be away for several weekends. So, yeah, people have to either watch our social media or my social media to see when there's going to be a new Blasphemers Bible. We're trying to set it up. We're trying to figure out a date. We haven't been able yet because it was really short notice. That's basically it. So I've got almost the weekend off. Only have to do a 6-hour show.
Nice.
So
then you're free.
Yeah. on Sunday, 6-hour show. It's like going to church every 2 weeks.
In theory, okay, well now the classes are over. I just administered the last final today. So that's it. Now I can get back to work on the Peacock's Tail. It's all recorded and it's partly done, so it shouldn't take me too much longer, and then it should be out maybe the next few days or so. So look forward to that. I know I said that last week, but this time I might mean it. So, you know.
And Brian Stevens says, quick reminder from the start of the show, don't forget to check out youtube.com @GeoGirl. I'm going to check it out.
Go check her out. I don't know who she is, but yeah, go check her out. Or wait, no, I do know who she is. That's right. Yes, I have seen her channel before, and I believe I watched some of her videos. So yes, go check her out. So, all right. Yes. All right. So thank you everybody for watching today. Thank you for being there in the live chat, everybody. Thank you, Peter, for hosting and co-hosting, and thank you, Nestle, for also co-hosting with us. And we will see all of you guys next time. So, bye, everybody.